AI music, is it going to ruin the music industry, or is it just a creative tool that is going to basically democratize music? I started making electronic music in 95, and I remember the sort of feeling I got when I first got my hands on a computer and a DAW. It was really simple, but I had no experience in music except just playing a little bit on the synth, my brother's synth. But just the fact that I could just line up samples and synths on a timeline, just it opened up a new world to me, and I thought like, oh my god, this is amazing, and it's so easy, I thought. But of course, what happens is that I'm not alone in having these technologies, like these tools. So there were thousands and tens of thousands of other people doing exactly the same thing. So when the internet came along, and when that sort of started to become like a thing that people were using and uploading music to, I just realized, oh my god, yeah, there's a whole community out of people doing electronic music just like this. I thought it was just like a creme de la creme, like Aphex Twin, Square Pusher, Autechre, Bunch of Canada, and then that most people, that they were sort of unattainable, and then lots of people were just doing their stuff, but that I could sort of squeeze in there somehow. But I didn't know that there were 10,000 other artists trying to do exactly the same thing. So the problem with AI music is that people think that, oh my god, I could just write whatever I want and I get a song like that. I could just put it up on Spotify, and because it's so good, I'm going to get millions of listeners. Well, when the threshold has been lowered even further, so electronic music, what I realized is that it's a tool that makes things easier. It's like makes it easier to sort of mix your own music and compose it. But as you're making things easier, you're also losing things. So, for example, you lose the naturalness of playing an actual instrument. So it becomes very sort of static. So as an electronic musician, when you get experience, you try to break free from that. So you try to tailor your own sounds and your own sort of flows by either like kind of intricate processes of making your beats and instruments sound more interesting, or actually playing acoustic instruments and blend it with other electronic instruments. So there's like a long learning process, and I'm still, 30 years later, I'm still struggling to get my voice heard. And I've had record labels and music in advertisement and film and so on, but it's still like a struggle. It's not something because there's so many other amazing artists out there. So when you lower the bar like you do with AI, that just means that if it's that easy to create a song that you basically just write what you want, then there are going to be millions of other people doing exactly the same thing. So how are you going to compete with them? So if we're not even discussing the sort of ethical issue here, that big tech companies sort of vacuum the intellectual properties of other and then just giving it away without compensation. So if you don't even consider that aspect, there's still the aspect of who's actually going to get played on Spotify. So bigger corporations, they have deals already, they have money to put to advertisement and to get them into playlists and so on. So even though your music is if Warner starts AI generating music and you do too, and they sound sort of similarly good, then they're going to get their music played on Spotify. They're going to get their music on playlists. So it's not easy to break in there just because you have the same tools. There's a lot of other things as well. So don't think that AI is going to magically democratize music, because it's not. So this has been my problem with AI generated music. It seems like it's sort of like a collage of other people's music. So you feel like you've heard it before, sort of. And if AI music would be more customizable, then it would be more interesting. It's like, some people compare it to sampled music. So you use samples in your music. But the thing is, if you use a sample, like a drum sample, that 1,000 other people are using already, you have to do something with it to make it your own. It's just, you can't just like put all samples in your music and think that it's gonna become a hit. You have to do something to it. And the same is going to be true for AI generated music. Like, you would want to start to build it apart and add sort of your own expertise to it. Because I think people are going to still need expertise. It's a problematic thing that you just go from AI generated song to like just write a prompt and then have a finished product without any sort of creative input. And of course, some people are going to be lucky there and like just stumble upon something amazing because the machine just happened to do it that day. It's like a random process. But most, 99.9% of users are not. So they're going to be struggling, wasting time to just sort of AI generate stuff that other people can also do very easily and then put it on Spotify and then get 0 plays anyway. So that's why I think that basically AI is also going to ruin Spotify in a way, because it's going to be filled with that stuff. And I think the people who think that music is just a commodity that you can create with an AI generation without compensation, they're not willing to pay for that kind of music. They're like, I could just make my own AI generated music, basically. So I think communities such as Bandcamp or stuff like that. Bandcamp maybe needs to be more user-friendly for more people to use it, but the sort of idea that you find people that you want to follow, and then when you buy the music, you know that 85% is going directly to them. So, for example, if you sell 10 albums on Bandcamp, you get maybe around $80, $90 or something. Sounds a little, and it is a little, but Spotify is not even coffee money for most people. So, and I think that people are contributing to the Bandcamp sort of architecture. They get more engaged in the music that they're playing. Spotify is more and more about playlists. So what happens is that it boosts the most popular tracks, and then when you go into an artist's page, those most popular tracks are going to be on top. So when you want to listen to a new artist, you put that track on and it gets even more played. So a lot of the album stuff is getting forgotten, basically. So Bandcamp is different there. You listen to an album more like you did in the old days, like a whole thing. And you hopefully then discover much more things from the artists. So Aphex Twin, for example, if you listen to Spotify on Aphex Twin, only the top songs, you're losing out on so much stuff that he has done that is amazing. So that was my little AI music rant. So feel free to comment in the comment section, and I try to reply to your thoughts. Thank you for listening and watching. And please press subscribe.